The story kicks off at an airport where a girl is seen getting on her flight. The plane is ready for takeoff. Everything appears normal, but the journey ahead holds unexpected dangers. The girl is trying to stow her luggage, but is struggling. A fellow passenger sitting next to her offers a hand, and this sparks a conversation between them. As the plane ascends, they continue talking, and the girl reveals she is a model. The man beside her says he's a musician, which triggers a memory for the girl. She mentions she once had a friend who was a musician named Gabriel. Hearing the name Gabriel, the man responds, saying he remembers launching music for a Gabriel years ago. He recalls that it was poorly received, and he had criticized him harshly. The girl asks if they're speaking about the same Gabriel, and the man inquires if his full name is Gabriel Pasternak. The girl confirms, and at this moment, another passenger, a woman who was a teacher, stands up. She remembers Gabriel as her student who consistently failed at everything. She recalls him as the worst student she encountered in her 30-year career. Another passenger chimes in, saying he also knew Gabriel, who was his classmate, and was known for his foolishness, making him a target of ridicule. The teacher remarks on the oddity of so many people on the same flight knowing Gabriel. Then, a man from further back stands up, sharing that Gabriel worked for him and was so unstable that he had to be fired. The musician, now suspicious, stands up and asks all passengers if they know Gabriel. To his shock, everyone raises their hands, each having crossed paths with Gabriel at some point. The musician then asks if everyone bought their own tickets. Surprisingly, no one had purchased their ticket themselves. Each had received it as a gift or from their company. The teacher confesses that she had also considered canceling her flight, but was explicitly told she had to board that day. Overhearing this, the flight attendant approaches and reveals that Gabriel Pasternak is the cabin chief for this flight. She shares her own connection with Gabriel, explaining that they trained together and that he had once proposed to her, wanting to marry her. She had turned him down, and despite their past, he eventually became her senior. She admits she didn't want to come on this flight, but had to because Gabriel is her boss. The concerning part is that Gabriel went into the cockpit a while ago and hasn't come out, and now neither of the pilots is responding. The musician, growing anxious, realizes that everyone on the plane had wronged Gabriel in some way. He turns to the girl, asking what she had done. She admits that although Gabriel liked her, she betrayed him by choosing his friend instead. Shockingly, the friend she had chosen is also on the flight. Suddenly, the plane begins to shake, causing panic among the passengers. An elderly man stands and heads to the restroom. There, he tries to reach out to Gabriel, pleading for him to open the door. He reveals that he is a brain doctor who treated Gabriel when he was overwhelmed with his troubles. However, he had raised his fees, causing Gabriel to stop coming for treatment. The doctor shares that Gabriel's mental issues stemmed from his parents, who never treated him well. He tries to reason with Gabriel, insisting that it's his parents who are to blame, not them. As the plane continues its rapid descent, it's clear that Gabriel has orchestrated this entire situation as a form of revenge on those he felt wronged him, with the exception of his parents, who are not on the plane. Fear grips everyone as the plane heads towards the city. The scene shifts to an elderly couple in their garden, watching as a plane hurtles toward them. It becomes evident that this couple is Gabriel's parents. The plane crashes, exacting Gabriel's terrible revenge. The narrative then transitions to a new story. We see a businessman named Diego driving down a deserted road for a business trip. His journey is peaceful, with music playing in his car. Suddenly, another car appears ahead, moving slowly and disrupting his drive. Diego impatiently honks his horn, urging the car in front to move aside, but it doesn't budge. Frustrated, he pulls up alongside and sees a strange man at the wheel. Diego curses at him and speeds past, flipping him off. His car is moving quickly, but suddenly one of his tires blows out. He pulls over near a pole, finding himself in a desolate area. He realizes he had an altercation with the man earlier and feels uneasy. He has a spare tire but doesn't know how to change it, so he calls a mechanic, who says he'll arrive in an hour. Diego tries to change the tire himself, but before he can finish, the same car that had been bothering him earlier arrives. Scared, Diego quickly gets back into his car. The man from the other car approaches, and Diego, terrified, apologizes, saying he shouldn't have insulted him. The man, however, is furious and starts smashing Diego's car windows with a wrench. Diego tries to call the police, but finds there's no network. As the man continues his rampage, Diego decides to fight back. He starts his car, which still has the hand-tightened spare tire, and rams the other car, causing it to tumble into a ditch and injuring the man. Diego starts to drive away, but his anger gets the better of him. He turns back to confront the man, but his tire is loose, causing his car to also fall into the ditch. The man drags Diego out and beats him severely, tying his neck to the seatbelt. The man then sets the petrol tank on fire, intending to kill Diego. As he tries to leave, Diego grabs his leg and both end up trapped in the burning car. Just then, Diego's mechanic arrives, but before he can help, the car explodes, killing both Diego and the man. The mechanic calls the police, who arrive to extinguish the fire. All that remained of Diego and the man were their skeletons. A police officer, looking at the charred remains, comments that it seemed like they were trying to save each other, but ended up killing one another in their quest for revenge. The officer reflects on the lesson. If we overlook minor annoyances, we can avoid major problems. If Diego had ignored the crazy man, none of this would have happened. The story then shifts to an engineer named Simon, who specialized in demolishing large, obsolete buildings. It was a typical day when Simon received a call from his wife, asking him to bring home a cake for their daughter's birthday. Simon stops at a bakery to get the cake, but while he's inside, his car gets towed because it was parked in a no-parking zone. Simon takes a taxi to the impound lot and argues that his car was wrongly towed. The clerk insists he pay the fine or face higher fees. With no other choice, Simon pays the fine and retrieves his car. The traffic delays him, and by the time he gets home, his daughter is celebrating her birthday with a small pastry. His wife is upset, blaming Simon's constant criticism of the government for their troubles. The next day, Simon goes to the government office to dispute the fine. The officer tells him he must pay, which infuriates Simon. He lashes out, encouraged by bystanders, but the police soon arrive and arrest him. His friend bails him out, but the incident makes the news, leading to Simon being fired from his job. His wife files for divorce, and he loses custody of his daughter due to his unemployment. One day, Simon's car gets towed again, even though he parked it correctly. This time, he retrieves it without protest, but the cumulative frustrations take a toll. The loss of his job, family, and future weighs heavily on him. Driven by anger and feeling he has nothing left to lose, Simon devises a plan. He gathers explosives from his previous job and carefully plants them around the tax authority's office. He waits until the building is full of people, then detonates the bombs, causing massive destruction and chaos. The blast is so powerful that it makes headlines worldwide. In the aftermath, Simon is apprehended and sentenced to life in prison. Reflecting on his actions, Simon realizes too late that his inability to let go of small grievances led to the loss of everything he held dear and ultimately his freedom. Simon's story highlights the importance of standing up for one's rights and not backing down when wronged. So, which story did you like the most? Let us know. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you in another video.